Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have a brand new episode in our card spotlight series in which I look at a card that I feel is underplayed or underappreciated in Commander and discuss its merits. But before we do that, just a quick reminder to please click subscribe if you enjoy these videos. It's the only way the YouTube algorithm really notices me, and we're currently growing the channel and it helps me a lot. Much appreciated. And today we're going to be talking about Determined Iteration. For one colorless and one red, it's an enchantment that says, at the beginning of combat on your turn, populate. The token created this way gains haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So the reason I wanted to make a video about this card is that this has been going into more and more of my decks recently. I found that it's actually a very flexible and very useful effect in a color that doesn't really get these sort of effects. Populate is only on 3 red cards in the entire history of Magic, and this is one of them. It's a very specific version of Populate in that the tokens only stay until end of turn, but this can actually be spectacularly good in the decks where it is good. Giving red the chance to make a copy of a token is a very strong ability, and this can actually slot into more decks than you might think. Recently, my friend has been playing a lot of Feldon of the Third Path with the budget deck that I made for him, and this has consistently been one of the best cards in the deck because when you activate Feldon and make a token, the token is usually going to be a copy of something huge with a big enter the battlefield or die ability. So getting another token copy of that that's going to last until end of turn is fantastic. It's also important that the wording on this says sacrifice and not exile, which means that if the thing you're copying has any death triggers, those are going to happen as well. Another example of a deck that this is really good in is in Brooded Clad. Brooded Clad is a deck that's interested in running lots of cards that make token copies of real creatures. So you're going to get really big creatures and get many copies of them. With Determined Iteration, you're going to get an extra copy at the beginning of every combat step. And since these creatures again will probably have some relevant abilities, you're actually getting much more value than the 2 mana it costs. The way this card tends to play out is that you pay 2 mana for it, but you're actually getting at least 5 or 6 mana worth of creature just the first time. And if it sticks around, you're just getting more and more and more uses out of it, and it just becomes this very inevitable machine. But those aren't the only 2 decks where this is fantastic. It's really good in Inala Archmage Ritualist, where you're making copies of wizards. It's also good in Riku of 2 Reflections, where you can make token copies of your creatures. It's good in Hoffrey Ghostforge, which is going to exile your creatures when they die and make token copies of them, and so on and so forth. There are so many commanders where this is almost an auto-include that it really surprises me that it isn't very played in the format. But not only that, even if you don't have any synergies with your commander, you can just throw in generically good cards like Wormcoil Engine or Mimic Vat into your deck, and those are going to consistently give you token copies or tokens that are actually relevant, and copying even a Wormcoil Engine token every turn is well worth 2 mana. So if you have any of those decks that I just mentioned, please consider giving this card a chance. I think you will be pleasantly surprised. So there you have it. That has been our card spotlight for today. What are your thoughts on this card? Let me know in the comments section below. I read all comments and respond to all of them too. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care. Woo!